tennis was his life. He wasn't the best player in the country.
Can you give some insight on how it felt to be third in the country?
It was amazing.
Get started. So first...
That's on camera, it's alright.
I have a couple of questions for you.
Yeah.
What was the proudest accomplishment of your career?
I've probably got sort of three real sort of memories that always come to my mind. The first one is when I was 18 years old, I reached #1 in the world in the junior ranking. And the next accomplishment was making top 100 in the men's game. From the age of probably 10, my dream was to be a top 100 player. My last probably sort of goal that was a dream and reality. I won the boys doubles at Wimbledon, which sort of always means I'm a sort of champion at Wimbledon.
Also, if you could choose one person who had the biggest impact over the course of your career, who would it be?
I would say it was, well, there's probably two people. My dad, who sort of got me involved in tennis, but there was an Australian coach called Ian Barkley who really sort of transformed my game and my belief.
So, have you been able to ever develop some professional players?
And I've probably had about 40 players over the last 12 years that I've coached to sort of a junior Grand Slam level. I was lucky enough to sort of be involved with Kyle Edmund for 4 years, and then also I was the coach to Johanna Konta, which is the British number one. I coached her for about a year and a half.
Can you reflect on what it was like having Kyle Edmund play at the academy?
It was great. He was with us between the ages sort of 12 and 16, or 13 and 16, that sort of age. And he wasn't the best player in the country at that stage, but tennis was his life, and he did everything to the best of his ability, and he wasn't going to let anything get in the way of being the best he could.
So overall, he had to make a lot of sacrifices to pursue his career.
Yeah, because he was up in sort of Yorkshire. He left home a bit like me and came down here and saw his parents sort of once every 2 or 3 weeks. So it's a sacrifice, but it's, in a way, you see how well he's done now. It was a sacrifice worth giving up, really.
Yeah, right. Especially at the Australian Open, like you can see it's been paying off.
Yeah. No, he did fantastic.
What was the favorite tournament that you played?
Probably my most memorable match was my favourite tournament was Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Just because you've got your home crowd, and if you ask most tennis players, the one tournament they want to win is Wimbledon. So I was lucky enough to be drawn against Pete Sampras on centre court at Wimbledon in the first round. But that's probably sort of my memorable match of playing one of the greatest players ever to play at Wimbledon on centre court.
I can imagine. What was it like playing Pete? Were you starstruck?
I wasn't too bad, because the year before I lost to Tim Henman on centre court in the second round. So I knew what the feeling was like. With Pete Sampras, for the sort of previous 2 or 3 years, I'd practiced with him quite a lot at Wimbledon. So I knew him and he knew me, so it wasn't like it was the first time I was ever playing against Pete Sampras.
The best part about tennis, wouldn't you agree, a sense of community that you gain?
Yeah. You meet so many new friends and acquaintances. And Roger Federer was practicing, and he stopped and he came over and said hello to me and shook my hand. He said, Martin, how are you doing? And I hadn't seen him for sort of 6-7 years, but he still sort of remembered me, even though it is a community, and every player in the top 100 or top 150 will know each other.
So, can you give some insight on how it felt to be third in the country?
It was a great feeling. It's because once I got up to that sort of ranking of third in the country, I was at a time when there was sort of Tim Henman and Greg Rosetsky they were sort of 3 or 4 in the world, and then I was the sort of next best British player. I got picked for Davis Cup, and I played for my country. And it's great to play for your country and try and do your sort of country proud.
And what was your motivation for opening up an academy like this?
Sort of coaching staff's experience of producing tennis players. and that's the one thing we sort of want to do really.
How did you and the Delgado brothers get together in order to?
I've always sort of played with Jamie, which is the older one that coaches Andy Murray. I travelled with him for 10 years, and Paul, which is who I set the business up with, he was the same age as me. And Johnny is the younger one, which is our academy manager.
There's Jamie. You said Jamie's associated with Andy Murray, right?
Yeah. So Jamie's been Andy Murray's sort of full-time coach for the last 2 years now. He's very busy with Andy Murray.
Right.
It's the only life he knows really, so it's the normal for him.
Oh yeah. Tennis is the best life though. It's true.
I think it's fantastic, and traveling the world and seeing new people.
What advice do you have for anybody who would want to break through?
You got to understand how hard you got to work.
Yeah.
And it's not a short fix. It's a long road, and the main thing is that to learn and to be the best, you've got to enjoy what you're doing.
And last question, and the most important one of them all, who's your favorite player on the tour currently?
It's got to be Andy Murray. It's, to me, a British player who when I played about a year with him. I played his first Davis Cup tie was my last Davis Cup tie, so I got to play a little bit with him, and I played one doubles event with him up in Nottingham. He's done fantastic to get to number one in the world, and the Grand Slams he's won, and he always gives it everything, and that's what I love about it.